Lynette Woodard played for the University of Kansas women's basketball team from 1977 to 1981 and scored a sum of 3,649 points during a time where women played with a larger basketball and no three-point line. Women were not allowed to play for the NCAA, so they eventually formed their own association, calling it the Association for Intercollegiate Athletics for Women, or the AIAW. Women athletes were not recognized, included, or supported by the male-centric NCAA, and until recently, major news outlets and sports broadcasting networks failed to acknowledge the groundbreaking records and contributions of the female players in the AIAW as well. Of her role in trailblazing women's basketball history and of women's collegiate basketball's humble beginnings, Woodard states, "When you're a pioneer, when you start something, you might have to get there walking, and then after you walk a while, somebody says, 'Here, use these bikes.' You ride those bikes for a while, and they say, 'Here's a motorcycle.' And all of it is an upgrade, from zero to an upgrade. When you have nothing, you're making it happen. You're cooking it from scratch." Woodard and her former college teammate, Adrian Mitchell-Newell, remain the only duo for the Kansas Jayhawks to score 2,000 career points and grab 1,000 career rebounds. Mitchell is second all-time in the KU record books in both scoring, 2,124, and rebounds, 1,288. The AIAW was established in 1971 to govern women's college competitions and administer national championships. University women self-formed the AIAW and funded and ran their own championship events for a decade. In an article for the Washington Post titled, "The NCAA Erased an Entire Generation of Women's Sports," columnist Sally Jenkins describes the conditions that these women endured. She writes, "They set records in cheap polyester uniforms, jerseys that got heavier with their sweat, held bake sales and washed cars to raise money, forced their long bodies in 12-seat vans with their knees up, packed bologna sandwiches, and drove cross-country to tournaments." After Title IX was ratified in 1972, female athletes faced challenges in gaining recognition and benefits. The NCAA refused to include women's sports until a decade later and has yet to acknowledge the remarkable feats of the pioneers. Pearl Moore of Francis Marion set an all-time scoring mark of 4,061 points in 1979, but her accomplishment is not formally in the record book. By 1981, the AIAW staged 41 championships in 19 sports and put women's basketball on national television. Their success proved that there was a market for women's athletics and that women deserved the same opportunities and recognition granted to their male counterparts. Seeing the potential for growth, the NCAA swooped in with a hostile corporate takeover and pressured universities to abandon the AIAW in favor of joining the NCAA. Consequently, AIAW records would receive the asterisk treatment and would be relegated to forgotten history. In illustrating the difference between the way that male athletes' records are recognized and honored versus the way that female athletes' records are ignored, Jenkins writes, "The NCAA regards Michigan as the holder of the record for most college football victories of all time with 989. Yet, the NCAA didn't come into existence until 1910, and Michigan began playing football in 1879. The NCAA doesn't strike or asterisk anything Michigan won pre-NCAA. Otherwise, there goes Fielding Yost and his 56-game winning streak and a huge chunk of Michigan seasons. The NCAA wouldn't dream of ignoring those years." She goes on to describe the treatment toward women's accomplishments, writing, "Yet they do so with women's basketball. They take away anything done pre-NCAA. And here are some of the people and things you lose: Ann Myers, Lucia Harris, Nancy Lieberman, Cindy Brogdon, Carol Blazowski. It's as if they never existed. Call up the NCAA record book online and try to find a trace of them. They aren't there. Jenkins further adds, the first 7 seasons of Pat Summitt's career came outside of NCAA benediction. So did the first 10 of C. Vivian Stringer's and the first 3 of Vanderveer's and all of Margaret Wade's. Yet strangely, in the ultimate fit of illogic, the record book actually includes women's coaching victories won pre-NCAA. When asked at a post-game news conference why she thought the NCAA recognizes coaching records from the AIAW era but not individual scoring, Iowa women's basketball coach Lisa Bluter replied, ignorance. Why would they not recognize the women who played in the 70s and 80s? They got it all started. They were the foundation for what we're doing right now. And to me, it makes no sense. But maybe the NCAA will realize that now. Organizations like Legends of the Ball, Inc., a nonprofit founded by former players, including Mitchell Newell, have a mission to preserve and promote the historic and social relevance of the WBL and pre-NCAA women's basketball. In a recent interview, Mitchell Newell remarked on the accomplishment of University of Iowa's star player and current major college women's basketball scoring record holder, Caitlin Clark. She stated, kudos to Caitlin. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of all the other young ladies who have scored big in Division I basketball. But don't forget about Lynette. It's a very long time to hold a scoring record without the three-point shot, without the smaller ball. In closing, I want to congratulate Caitlin Clark on her remarkable accomplishment. Without a doubt, she has had a tremendous college career up to this point. I'd also like to wish her, her teammates, and the coaching staff of the Iowa Hawkeyes women's basketball team the best of luck in the upcoming tournaments. And to all the visionaries of the AIAW who made sacrifices and contributed so greatly to forge the path that young women walk through today, thank you. My hope is that the NCAA will officially include the players' records of the AIAW. Behind those records are stories of courage, perseverance, and excellence. They hold memories that deserve to be celebrated by as broad an audience as possible.